What's going on, boxing fans? It's Julian Williams with The Distance. I have another video for you guys today. Thomas Hitman Hearns versus Felix Tito Trinidad at welterweight. Both of them, on top of their games at this weight class. So anyway, onto the matchup. Thomas Hearns has the reach advantage, of course, height advantage. A little faster in the speed department. Tito Trinidad, I think has a stronger chin. I believe has more heart out of the two. Skill-wise, and I think his mental toughness. I'll put that as part of his skill because he was mentally tough. I think he was a much smarter. I think he's a bit of a smarter fighter than Hearns. But I think Hearns' big advantage was that he fought. He fought very big. He kind of fought his size, and he used his height and his reach to his advantage. And in a matchup against a fighter like Tito Trinidad, who's a fighter who kind of stands back and kind of zeroes in, towards the end of the fight and finishes strong. All Hearns has to do to keep Trinidad off of him is use his jab. If anybody has seen his matchup with Wilfred Benitez, a fighter whose style I wouldn't say is similar to Trinidad, but he was kind of the type of fighter that would kind of look for a flaw and he would zero in. Probably in the sometimes the third to mid rounds. He started to zero in, and he started to start boxing. He would start to box, and kind of try to find those flaws so he could win the matchup. And Tito Trinidad was just the type of fighter who later on in the fight, when say you have all this energy in the beginning of the fight, towards the end, Trinidad would probably come in and go for the kill, when he could. Because a big no-no against Felix Trinidad is losing steam and losing energy, because Trinidad's going to be there all night because he's there to fight. One matchup with Hearns that does stand out to me is the matchup against Benitez, because Benitez, remind me of in that fight actually remind me of Felix Trinidad in a way, because Trinidad, there's a lot of fights when you're throwing a lot of shots at Trinidad, and he's kind of just standing there and he's not really throwing. And Benitez in that first round didn't even throw. Didn't even throw a shot at Hearns. So that will always stand out to me is that one fight there, because that actually is the first fight I've seen with Hearns was against Benitez. And I think that with Trinidad, with that style, I think that in the early goings of the fight, I think that Hearns would win, just because Trinidad is the type of fighter that zeroes in. So all Hearns really has to do is pump out his left jab, maneuver around the ring. What he does, because it does amaze me how a man his size, as tall as he is, can maneuver around the ring the way that he did. He did have pretty good. He was better on his feet, so I think all he has to do really is pump out his left jab and fire that right hand. That a lot of fighters never seen coming. Because that will catch a lot of fighters off guard if he throws that. If he throws that right hand. Throwing a few left jabs and then follow up with the right hand just really quick, and it was so automatic for him that he was knocking guys out. And he has so much power in that right hand as well. Tito Trinidad, I do see him just kind of coming forward, trotting forward the whole fight. His bread and butter punch was that right hook. I believe it was a right hook. It was a hook. It was either a right or a left hook, but I'll say right hook. He was able to, when he landed that right hook, he could knock guys out. Just like that. Tito Trinidad was a smart fighter, very tough, and along with that, him being tough, he was a strong finisher. He finished the fight very strong. But in his fight, I just see Thomas Hearns pumping out his left jab, 78-inch reach compared to Tito Trinidad's 72. So it's going to be hard for Tito Trinidad to kind of zero in on Thomas Hearns. You know, it would be very hard for him to zero in on him. But you know, honestly, when I first thought of this fight, I thought that, you know, judging by looking at a lot of Hearns and a lot of Trinidad videos over the weekend, I wouldn't think that Hearns will win this fight. But at the same time, you know, that chin kind of lets him down a bit in a fight like this against Tito Trinidad. But at the same time, I'm thinking, how can Tito Trinidad get on the inside and fight Hearns? How could he come in, you know, lead in against the Thomas Hearns, you know, jab? And when he's not throwing a jab, maybe he's sneaking in the right hand. So it's very hard to analyze a fight like this. But honestly, I'm gonna go with Thomas Hearns by unanimous decision. I'm gonna go with that because you know, really, I think it'll be hard for Tito Trinidad to try to zero in on a fighter with a 78-inch reach, who's gonna be throwing that jab, you know, a full 12, you know, or at least 10 rounds, and then when, you know, jab kind of wears off, you know, he's gonna be sneaking in the right hand. So I'm gonna go with Thomas Hearns by unanimous decision. This fight is by no means easy to analyze, but I'm gonna go with Hearns unanimous decision. But anyway, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.